Guys, real quick. This is going to be a very short episode today. Okay? Guys, today's episode is going to be very short. Listen, our brother Floyd Shivambu, the South African politician Floyd Shivambu, is ready to talk. He's already talking. Let me not say Floyd Shivambu is ready to talk. Floyd is talking today. Okay, Floyd is auditioning for the Madlanga Commission, or he's auditioning to go to court and testify against the entire EFF. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna play, guys. Today's episode is gonna be very short. I'm not gonna waste your time today. Okay, I'm not gonna waste your time. Welcome to South Africa Will Succeed. You will hear it from Floyd's mouth. Listen to Floyd, and if you guys wanna share how you feel about Floyd, even if you don't like Floyd, but Floyd makes a lot of sense. You understand? Even if you don't like him, the man makes sense, right? So today's episode is going to be very short, guys. Let's just listen to Floyd, okay? I'm going to play the video just now. Just keep quiet and listen. That's all you have to do. Listen and come up with your own conclusions, okay? Guys, tomorrow I have an exclusive on the University of Fort Hare. Tomorrow I have an exclusive on the University of Fort Hare. You don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. It's going to be a very short one. I am sharing names and surnames and salaries of people who should not be there, of people who are there fraudulently. It's a fact, it's recorded, it's proven, there's evidence. I'm going to share their names and surnames and their salaries. Some of these people are getting paid 2 million rand per year at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape. We are exposing them. I have names, I have surnames, I have evidence. So my point is this: be here tomorrow. Click on the notification bell so that you get notified when I drop an episode. Okay, click on the notification bell so that you get notified when I drop an episode. Also, like the video and comment. We are safe in our country. We are exposing Satan. Okay, we are exposing the devils that are running this country. We are exposing Satan, and we are very happy that John Steenhuisen is quitting the DA. I want all of them to quit. I want each and every one of them to quit. I want Balula to quit. I want Ramaphosa to quit. I want the entire ANC to quit. The entire DA to quit. We need to save our country, guys. Welcome to South Africa Will Succeed, okay? If you love South Africa, this is the place for you. If you want to save our country, this is the place for you. If you are saying enough is enough, we need to save our country, we need to unite this country, we need to fix this place. Whether you are black or white or Indian or colored, if you've had enough, this is the place for you, okay? I come here, I drop evidence. South Africa Will Succeed is based on evidence, guys. We don't make accusations on this platform. We do not accuse anybody on this platform. It's facts that we can prove. This is why they can't sue me, okay? They can't sue me, right? So, guys, let's listen to our brother Floyd over here. Even if you don't like Floyd, it makes sense. Floyd is ready to talk, guys. He's ready to go to the Madlanga Commission and testify against Julius Malema and the entire EFF. Here, guys, listen for yourselves, okay? Just listen for, that's all I'm saying. Listen for yourselves, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.
If we gain that through political power, so be it, but that is not our main focus. Actually, like the distinction is that there are organizations that exist to just win political power. Example? Like majority of the organizations that some I got to even associate with, their primary purpose is to gain political power.
With the extent, with what objective?
And that
so
is
you were part of them.
Yeah, yeah.
At some point, you agreed.
So you know, like subjectively, right? I think I must have to exonerate myself from that dynamic.
But you were in the room.
Yeah. So subjectively, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to check the trend on how, even when I was the wasted 10 years in Parliament, every time I would speak in Parliament, even for 2 minutes, I would speak to solutions. I'll give critique of what is happening, but 100% of the time I debated the State of Nation address, I'll always come with solutions on how to. I think I already gave an example here.
I remember
on electricity.
I remember that. I was driving somewhere and I was tuned in and I heard it and I remember thinking, well, those are practical solutions to a problem.
So, and all the time.
Yeah.
And And I can tell you that even when we would be doing that, majority even of the people that we serve with will be like, no, those things of policies, man. You are a policy person. Leave these things of policies, man. Let us focus on winning election. on winning election.
Yes.
Like,
but isn't that the objective at the heart of any political...
And you know what is tragic, by the way, and that was prophesied or predicted scientifically by Frantz Fanon when he, in the pitfalls of national consciousness, he then critiques what he calls the national bourgeoisie. He says that majority of the times those who take political power, they are clueless about the state of their own economies, about the state of their countries, and they've got zero solutions as to what should be done differently. If anything, they just want to replace the colonial masters and say, let us go together with what was happening before, without changing the fundamental structure of how the economy is structured. I can tell you now, so if you were to do an assessment of those members of parliament, like assessment and say, tell us about South Africa, you will see miracles. Even on basic things as to how many people are in South Africa, what are the potential economic opportunities that we can build on in South Africa, you will be so surprised. And even on the things which they think they are responsible for in government,
even in
their portfolios, even if you were to ask them about the fiscals as to where does the fiscals of the state come from and how is it distributed, who gets which portion, and how do we enhance the revenue of the state, you will be so shocked because majority of those people do not know what are their obligations. They do not care about what happens after the attainment of political power. And it shows, I mean, like, when we say it, people, they try to criminalize it. So, you know, my disassociation and my spiritual disconnection from the EFF was when it came into contact with government and part of its leaders at the most senior level wanted to just continue with the corruption of tenders in the municipalities.
Okay. Yeah.
And I said that some of you were accused of these things when we were young elsewhere. And this is what you want to do, and then you brag about it.
Yeah, but as a senior leader, your role isn't to correct. To help with the correction.
David, I did that on many occasions.
Yeah.
Like on many occasions. And the good thing is that what I got to learn about political conduct generally is that even when I give verbal instructions, I write down as well. So there are many occasions where, as the chairperson that time of the governance task unit, I would give instruction to all the municipalities, even those in government, that let us insource all workers. Let us abolish the tenders on security, on cleaners and everything else there. But you'll be doing that only to discover later that the people that you work with are tendering for security in the municipalities where you are saying.
Themselves.
Yeah, themselves.
Yes.
And that is the most tragic thing that... And then I realized that there are certain things that you cannot cure, like no matter what you say, no matter what you preach and everything. And some of the problems, some of the problems, like the corruption, which I think we say it as well in our founding documents of Maibuena. The best way to deal with corruption in the public service or in the state as a whole is to do away with tenders.
That's the position of my book.
Yeah, that is the position of my way. We must do away with tenders. Because corruption, and you'll actually even save many people's lives, because even the political killings happen because of tenders. The state has to build capacity to perform its own functions. The state must build capacity to build its own roads, to build schools, to look after its own facilities and buildings by employing security guards internally. The state must have its own capacity to.
So they can procure. They cannot have a division within the state. And if they can, correct me, where they build their own cars, using that example that we touched on earlier.
So they can. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Do you know South Africa? for years has been owning Denel, by the way, which builds army vehicles.
Yes, and what is that?
And Roy Flak.
Yes.
Like building fighter machines, highly sophisticated. A Roy Flak is way too sophisticated than a motor vehicle. Yeah, it's way too sophisticated.
Okay.
And
I concede.
Yeah, so the state has got capacity to do far much more sophisticated things. So the state has to build its own capacity.
Meaning that
perform.
the state...
And by the way, like, if you were to go closer to the Council of Scientific and Industrial, CSIR in South Africa, and check some of the innovations that they have
amazing.
They are far much more advanced. So South Africa was supposed to be far ahead of many countries in the world in terms of industrial innovation and industrialization as well. Remember during COVID as well, they manufactured that air machine. What was it called?
I forgot.
Yes. Yeah, that machine which was helping people to breathe much more easier. And some of the European countries bought from the manufactured products that came from South Africa. So South Africa has got far much more advanced capacity to perform its own functions. But you have got people who go into government with the mentality of wanting to get rich quicker or die trying to do so. So that is the biggest problem that we're confronted with. And we can systematically and systemically uproot corruption if we were to build internal state capacity for the state to perform its own functions. But also that would empower as many people as possible. I mean, like and do you know, during the consultation process, mostly in the rural areas, the people, mostly the elders who came to give input, they were raising that point very firmly. And unfortunately, they were even giving examples of how the Bantustan governments used to operate. Because the Bantustan governments had internal capacity in Kwandebele, in Veda, and Baputatswana, like in terms of response to the local needs, in terms of service to the people, in terms of public infrastructure. Bantustans were far much better than what the local state is doing now. And everyone else knows that Bantustans, in terms of looking after public infrastructure and local areas, were far much more better than the local municipalities that exist in our areas now, because all these local municipalities, they exist as tendering governments, which must just give tenders to people to perform the functions which otherwise were supposed to be performed by government. So at the root of corruption in South Africa and the public service is a tendering system which must be changed, and then the state is empowered to perform its own functions at all levels. And then, of course, there are so many things. So someone will ask a question as to, what about aspirant business people? Aspirant So aspirant business people must be given industrial subsidies to go into industry to manufacture goods and products. That is what South Korea did when it was catching up with the rest of the world in terms of industrialization. So do you know, like in South Africa, all these development finance institutions, inclusive of IDC, NEF, sometimes PIC, NYDA, all of them,
I know that one.
All of them combined in a financial year do not grant more than 1,000 industrial support mechanisms and finances. All of them combined.
Wow.
Go and check the history of South Korea when it was pursuing its developmental path. Annually, it was giving developmental finance not to less than 30,000 startups, which got, and they knew that because the startups, some will fail, but those that succeed will create jobs, will quantitatively and qualitatively expand the economy of their own country. But in South Africa, we do not have that. If anything, industrial subsidization, particularly of innovators in South Africa and those who want to enter into new industries, is almost non-existent. So if there are those who want to go into business, government should provide a package of industrial support mechanism and system so that they thrive there, not through tenders, because the current system, majority of the people who are tendering are not even business people. Like, find a person who the only thing that is business about them is the business card. They don't have an office. They don't even have a spade or one gardening tool, but will be given a contract to build a road. And they don't even know where the building.
How do they get it? Having seen more than us average people, how do they get these things?
So, do you know the unfortunate reality in South African tendering system is that because, of course, the procurement laws, whether it's the Municipal Finance Management Act or the Public Finance Management Act, the procurement law says that the major determinant of who gets the tender is price. Right?
So the cheapest.
So majority, the cheapest.
Yes.
So majority of the tenderers, they work with supply chain staff who receive the documents.
Okay.
So on the closing date, they say, no, that's fine. Leave the pricing part open. I will price it for you. Then they receive documents.
But that's not allowed.
It's not allowed. Yeah. It's not allowed. Yeah.
So they receive documents from everyone, all bidders.
And then they just price it 1,000 Rand cheaper. And then they claim that they've got capacity, and then they claim capacities of established white companies that so and so is going to partner with me to build a road and everything.
But that has no profit, though, is it? If you are the cheapest amongst all bidders, even those that submitted correctly,
yes,
you can be profitable.
Yes. So
how do you make money from that?
So this is what happens. And then government, whether a municipality or provincial government, pays the establishment money into the company that won the tender. And then if they pay 10 million, it then takes 4 million Rand to go and buy a Range Rover.
And then how do they deliver on the...
That explains the fact that majority of roads that were built by this tendering system are no longer existing after 5 years or even less period. Like majority of the quality is compromised because you cannot be able to keep up to that if you want to compete with the Range Rovers and all of these things that they buy to appear relevant in terms of they celebrate the tenders being awarded. Show me these people who are in business who can say that, look at the project that I've completed. Let us shine that this is what I've completed. I've delivered.
Let's shine on the project, not on the cars.
not on the cars.
Yes.
On the cars and the alcohol which they buy in the clubs and everything else, that they will shine about that. But let us be shown the projects that they got to do. The system doesn't work at all. And the system has to be fundamentally reconfigured. And the state builds internal capacity to rather pay the engineers and project managers unreasonable levels of salaries. But that is the route that we should take to make sure that the state has got its own capacity to perform its own functions than this tendering system, which is perennially and inherently corrupt. It's almost impossible. My suspicion or my prediction out of practical observation is that more than 99% of tenders, they are issued on the backdrop or on the background of a bribe being paid or promised.
Bribe paid or promised?
Yes.
Because it may not be paid up as promised.
And that is how it is. And municipal officials,
but then it means
tenderpreneurs,
it's not political parties. Based on your example, it's not a politics problem, it's an administrative problem.
No. So the politicians are the ones who are responsible for the laws that govern procurement.
But they don't benefit from it, based on your example.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
How?
They do.
They're not in the tender.
No. Yeah. So this is the system. Is that they are extremes. Like I'll actually
give us an example.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what happens. The politicians will micromanage and puppet master the administrators on the basis that they can fire them.
Okay.
Or their terms of office finishes after every 5 years. That if you're a CFO, you're a chairperson of the bid adjudication committee, your term finishes after 5 years, it must be renewed. So for you to remain in the system, you must follow the instructions of the political principals, who are the ones who decide whether you stay in the municipality or you do not stay. Or
they also have an expiry period.
Yes. But within that expiry period, they can make your life a living hell in terms of once they say, no, this person is against the movement.
It's anti-revolution.
It's counter-revolutionary. It's working with enemy forces. Then you are gone. They will find all means. So, then there's the other extreme that is happening now, mostly due to these coalition governments in municipalities. You then have administrators, city managers, and HODs who use their financial muscle to subdue the political leadership.
Okay.
So they give them money on arrival, then want to greet you, mayor, just take something. And then from there, subdued, you can't say anything.
These are business people.
No. Administrators.
How? Where do they get the money?
Remember, the vicious cycle is that they, in the bribe scheme and arrangement of things, they are part of the recipients as well.
Okay, yeah.
You know, David, you'll be very shocked that...
Shock us.
If you were to do an asset assessment of municipal employees, particularly in the metros, you'll be so shocked of the things which they own and the things which they buy for people as gifts and everything else there. You will be so shocked. You find a municipal employee buying Rolls Royce of 15 million rand.
And then they earn 15,000 a month.
And you'll be so surprised. And Lamborghinis and all sorts of things. You know, and the manner in which the travel as well, you realize that it's a different arrangement altogether. Then they utilize that financial muscle to subdue the political leadership as well. And then the political leadership has got no voice, because whenever the political leadership wants to caution them, they say that, when I remember I gave you your portion. So stop these things. Where did you think the money come from?
Pretend you see nothing.
Yeah, pretend you see nothing.
Jeez.
And then the much more sophisticated ones, the administrators, they go to the leadership of political parties at national level or provincial level to pay them. Because those ones are the ones who oversee the ones in the municipalities and say, no, your boys, they must not trouble me.
So they go to a head office.
Yeah, and then I'll take care of you, but you must tell your people there that they must not trouble me.
Why is it that we are so easily influenced? There's something, because you're describing not one or two people, you're describing a culture.
A system, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So why is it that it's so easy for us? Maybe let me call us as black people. Let me simplify it. Why is it that we find ourselves in 2026 or the past 30 years, we are so easy to influence financially?
Look, I think
it can't be poverty, because Rolls Royce is not a poverty problem.
No, I think we've got there's a tragedy of the black question. It's not only a South African problem, actually. We've got a huge problem.
Which is?
We will have to do a very in-depth analysis of why are we where are we at the state where we are as black people? Because all black liberation projects have dismally failed.
Same way.
Beginning with Haiti, which was liberated in the 1800s, a black republic, the first black republic established in the 1800s. But if you go to Haiti today, it's nowhere close to prosperity. If anything, it looks like it's going back to even much more worse conditions. Despite the sentimental attachment to the liberation of Ghana, there's nothing glamorous about Ghana. There's nothing prosperity about Ghana. There's nothing prosperous even about Rwanda, by the way. There's, of course, the part of the city which is clean, but immediately you go out of Kigali, you realize, but this is worse than some of the informal settlements in South Africa. Like we have to make that observation and be honest about it. And then we had then set a generational mission as a people now who are alive, all of us as black people who are alive, that we can't leave the earth, all of us, and then the conditions of black people and collective programs and systems that are run by black people continue to fail like they've been failing for many years. Yes, there's external destabilization by Caucasians in many instances.
But we are easy to buy. We are easy to buy.
Yeah, in some instances, we're also responsible for our own problems.
But why?
And we need to handle a different approach altogether. So I'm
really curious to hear your take on having been a part of political movements, political parties, 3 of them. We find the same type of human. Inside these places.
It's the most tragic reality, the most tragic observation. And all the time, now I come across that, it always shocks me. But I can tell you something that, part of the reasons I personally agree to remain in the political space is because I think that can contribute to a reversal of the black tragedy, the black poverty tragedy problems, which have defined us for many years. That I think we can try to conjure a different model of collective responsibility, of moving away from the obsession with self-enrichment. Because the biggest crisis is that almost all our leaders, historically and presently, are obsessed with self-enrichment. It's about them eating and about them and their children. So, the other time when we're given an instruction that the bucket toilets must be abolished in a Koruleni. So the EFF was responsible for water and sanitation, which could have started an RFP
in the
municipality. We could have started a process to say, let us remove bucket toilets and have much more decent toilets. One of the leaders was saying, what are my children going to eat? And only to discover that that person was involved in the tenders of supplying bucket toilets to Ekoruli.
Those blue funeral toilets.
What rubbish is this? What are my children going to eat? And Floyd wants to destroy my business.
Are you saying we don't have the ability to think about all of society?
I think
because in that instance, they fail to think about all of society, but they're able to think about their own family.
Yes, so that is the biggest problem, by the way. That even when we're involved in collective efforts and programs, we're always looking for self-interest. Not all of us, but majority of the leaders are always looking for self-interest as to how do I eat here out of every development that is taking place. And that is contrary to what defines the political culture and the social culture that defines the People's Republic of China and the Communist Party of China, for instance. There's a need, they push collective progress and prosperity much more decisively. Such that even when someone wants to act like he's a superstar, Jack Ma,
they bring him down.
They say, Jack Ma, relax.
Chill.
Relax.
In the words of Madanga, chill.
They said, you must relax.
Yeah.
We have to look into a collective prosperity, all of us. And that is the spirit which must be infused in the whole of society, through value systems, through political education, through demonstration as well, that we can be selfless as leaders and not be self-seeking. Because if you are driven by a self-seeking agenda, you will never prosper much more meaningful. You can become rich, but for a temporary moment.
Let's say where we are politically, because I think it connects. We have a huge black voter divide. And let me carry on with this thought. Even Professor Lisiwa Tefu says this is a typical apartheid divided rule. You want to influence them, you want to take charge of black people, divide them. And when they're divided, you can control them individually. How do you divide them? And it's not his quotation. You give their leaders stuff to be happy momentarily, as we are describing. You give him a house and a nice little, and you do the same with all of them. Are we not at the same place in South Africa when it comes to the collective voter power of black people collectively? Because we are so spread apart.
No, look, I don't share on that view, like that we've got. I think we're undergoing a space and phase of the reconfiguration of politics in South Africa, which is long overdue.
Which is?
I mean, so the former liberation movement, the ANC, had the entire black vote in 1994, in 1999, in 2004. Like once you get 70%, like 69%, 2/3, you're done. You don't need anything. Like the other ones who do not vote for you, even from a parliamentary point of view, is just for aesthetic purposes that we've got a multi-party democracy. But otherwise, you're in charge of everything.
You don't need to ask them anything.
Yeah. But what did the ANC do with the 2/3 majority? Nothing. Like zero. Did not even change the very offensive colonial names that are still naming our cities and our streets. They couldn't even shift the statue of Paul Kruger in front of Parliament. Like, they still celebrate colonial symbols. They couldn't change fundamentally the minerals regime in South Africa, that minerals continue to be super exploited by multinational companies who do not pay tax, sometimes who do not even keep record of the gold that they have taken out of South Africa, or of the platinum group metals that have taken out of South Africa. So the nostalgia, also some view that now, if you were to reunite the ANC, Black Vote, and MK, and EFF, and all other, it will be progressive. I beg to differ. There won't be anything progressive. I don't think that the existing political formations are a solution to the problems of South Africa. The good thing, though, which is a relief, is that the people of South Africa have seen that the ANC is not a solution to the crises of South Africa, to the problems of South Africa. I mean, like, how do you explain 12 to 14 million people who voted for the ANC in 1994 when the overall population was 40 million? And then now in 2024, 5 million people only voted for the ANC when the population is 63 million. So that is a clear sign of you do not have confidence in you. And how do you explain the fact that out of the 43 million people who are above the age of 18 in South Africa, only 16.3 million people participated in elections in 2024. That is a sign of no confidence. It's a vote of no confidence, not only on the ANC, but on all the political parties that are in existence and now in South Africa, because our people are not fools. Our people, they don't associate with things that do not mean anything to them. And they make meaningful contributions. You know, like I always give example of uncle of mine. He always wants to have political discussions. Even when I was in the ANC, like when I was still the national spokesperson of the ANC.
Of the Youth League.
Yeah. Of the ANC Youth League, yes. Then we go to the village there in Mawanese village. Then he says that, Floyd, why do you go around saying people must vote for the ANC? Why? He says, here in Mawanese village, what is ANC? What is government? He says, when was the last time this road was ever graveled?
Or even just smoothing out. You know when that,
that
thing comes and it just
he says that, he says this road, he says that, then he tells me about the basic infrastructure in the village. He says, you see, that school was built in 1970. He says, these pipes, they were built in 1986.
That's a Bantustan.
Yeah. Then he says, tell me one thing which was ever done. And that was when I was in the ANC. So recently now, when I'm in my buya now, many years later, I was at a funeral in Mawanese village. There's a mayor with a new municipality there. I was asking him, as a new municipality, you are turning 10 years in 2026 as a municipality established in 2016. What have you done here in this village? It took him a very long time to respond, but like he couldn't point at anything. And then he then mentioned some dilapidated RDP houses which were built in 1997. 70% of which have collapsed now, are no longer habitable.
Yeah. So he was saying he revived those.
No. He was saying they were built in 1997. That is
he's giving you a story that he wasn't even, that municipality didn't exist.
No, it didn't